I really see one of the sort of the gateway uses of AI being customer excellence throughout the organization, really understanding the customer, bringing those insights to bear in everything you do, from designing products to thinking through the customer lifecycle.
I think we all kind of unanimously agreed the highest order is the customer experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so coupled with now the technology is there, we've got access to these vast amounts of data, we can now create these experiences, and this notion of bringing human and machine together, not versus each other, but together, can really I think accelerate that creation of those customer experiences.
And we have multiple exponentials that are all occurring at the same time and feeding off each other. You have, we've been talking about data and the ability to extract more about our reality than we ever have before. The tooling is racing along as well, and so that is democratizing the availability of these technologies to a much broader user group than has ever been available for in terms of implementation. And then finally, I think I heard you mention computer a little while ago. The compute capability of modern GPUs and similar is providing us that ability to bring them all together, and they each feed off each other. So we're seeing the very early stages of this renaissance right now.
There's a lot that's been made around the impact of AI on the workforce, and does it mean it's going to be mass job loss? That's not what I'm seeing. I really focus on 3 areas where I think that machine learning specifically will have an impact. One is reducing cost, and by that I don't mean that we're displacing the workforce. What I mean are there's lots of jobs out there that were never intended for people to do. But the only option was for people to do them because we didn't have software that could do that on their behalf. So I think there'll be a lot of those types of jobs, repetitive, that it's not ideally suited for humans to do in the first place. Yeah. Second is increasing efficiency, and oftentimes you'll hear about potentially giving people superpowers in their job, right? Where not only can they do their job, they can do it a lot faster, a lot better, and they can be much more productive. And then the third area is achieving new breakthroughs. And this is something I think is going to be really powerful as it relates to what you can get out of machine learning. As a society, we have blind spots that we're not aware of. For any new breakthrough that occurs, that only happened because someone else didn't really think to do that. Machine learning gives us the opportunity to discover new patterns, new ways of working that weren't obvious before. And so I think we're going to be able to see all sorts of interesting new capabilities in the enterprise as it relates to that.
So let's get specific though.
He raises a great point. There's a particular word that you said, and that was kind of superpowers for humans, and I think that is where so many of us are driving toward, in that you go to your place of employment, and as you walk in, the environment and the sensors know who you are. They understand what your job is. They understand the tools that you need to do that job, and they align those robots, the various automation, and the human is really in the center of that, conducting what is essentially a symphony of automation to supercharge their ability to get their work done. And so, whereas so many people are worried about job loss, we really look at it as supercharging the human and augmenting them with better tools than they've ever had before to get their job done.
You guys have some predictions for where this is going. Give us a couple of predictions that you would make over the next, say, 3 to 5 years.
I think one of the boldest one was by 2020, if a company is not utilizing AI in some way, they're going to inherently lose market value. I think we were pretty confident. You and your company have done some great research on that, and I think it's pretty well substantiated.
I think the topic that we just brought up, the man plus machine, would be much better than either one on their own. That's true in the enterprise world as well. I know there are a lot of AI playing games that's beating all the human champions, but I think it's just keep that to aside. So it's much more the two working together. I think is where the value would come.
Yes.
And it's not only the value, I think as you go into more enterprise situations, given the risks involved, given the dollar value involved, you do want humans in the loop, at least for a foreseeable future, till you can start trusting the AI.
Okay, so I'm a senior executive in a B2B enterprise. Where do I start? What do I do? Tom?
You probably define the problem. There's two ways to innovate.
Help me figure out what a problem is. tell me about a problem.
Right now? Well, I think broadly speaking, there's two ways to use a new technology. The easiest and the most effective way to do that is to work around a problem. The other way is to work around the opportunities it creates. So regardless of what business you're in, it's great to figure out what the points of pain are, and then establish if this technology has a role in that. and then what that role is, and then ideate around that. The other way is to just be aware of the incredible things that this can make happen, and then kind of brainstorm around what that means. But we need to be really careful about very specific advice to very general problems. We like to ask people questions like, what are your clients thinking these days? Or what's it like to be a bank? The reality is that every type of company has completely different problems right now. They have vastly different attitudes towards risk. They have vastly different attitudes towards the degree to which they're trying to and able to make change. So I think you need to just approach every single particular problem and opportunity in a very specific way that's precise to that person and that time.
I think it's important to keep expectations set too, right? Like people hear about artificial intelligence and all this crazy stuff that it's doing, and so they think that it's going to be this magical solution that solves all their problems, when in most cases, in my experience, it's better to walk before you run when it comes to this, especially if you've never done a machine learning style project before, which requires a significant amount of data. You first have to get your data strategy in place before you can have an AI strategy.
We're in a very strange
That's
time.
crucial.
That is crucial to success. If you do not get your data strategy not only figured out, but implemented ahead of time, and you may have a huge amount of data, but getting the right data to the right place to solve a problem it cannot be overstated.